You are about to listen to a Jason Burgos exclusive interview.
I'm awesome. How you doing?
I'm fantastic. I appreciate having your time and getting to talk to you. Because you grew up or lived a lot of time here in New York, right?
Yeah, lived my whole life in New York, pretty much.
And you're in Queens, right?
Yeah,
Oh well, hello,
Bayside Queens.
hello, Queens. I am Bronx. I was
Nice.
actually talking to Shane Burgos yesterday too, and talking to him about it too, because we both share the Burgos name, which is extremely rare in MMA and most sports, and we are both Bronx boys. So I'm glad to now go from Bronx boys to Queen guy.
That's pretty cool.
Now, I wanted to go back to the Moraes fight to start. You know, you did some really good things in that fight. The first two rounds were highly competitive and back and forth. However, he knocked you down both the first and second, and the cut in the second led to a lot of blood. Do you feel things like that may have swayed two of those three judges more than they should have? Because, I mean, you recovered really quickly from both the knockdowns.
Yeah, in that fight, I think it's, it was like a tiny little cut. It was, it wasn't really that bad.
Mm-hmm.
But I think the amount of blood that was just like pouring out of me made it seem like more damage. But either way, it was a competitive fight, and I left all in there. So that could have been it. They're probably like, man, this guy's losing a lot of blood. The other guy looks like he has the advantage. But, look, they see a different way, and there's something I can't control. But all I know is I left it all in there. But they probably did persuade him a little bit.
Now, the announcers kept mentioning they felt you should try and get a takedown in the third, yet they felt you won the round despite not going to the ground, a lot of it being standing. How do you feel that fight played out overall? Did you like how things went on the feed? Were you pushing for takedowns and maybe he was making it difficult along with the blood getting you guys slippery? Because you did some real good things in the first round, getting his back and almost submitting him.
Yeah, I did want to take it down to the ground as well. But like even when I tried to wrap my hands around him, it was so bloody and everything so slippery. I couldn't even get a good grip on him. So I'm covered in blood. He's covered in blood. It makes it so difficult to just get a grasp, like a grip on anything. So I was trying to, push it, towards to the ground, which was part of my advantage. But I was also comfortable on the feet, and I know like towards the last couple of rounds, he starts to, kind of starts to slow down a little bit. So I'm like, all right, let's pour it on now. But, unfortunately, I wasn't upset. In that fight, it's like whoever they had called it for, there was really no loser in that fight because, I mean, I literally left a clone of myself in that cage.
I like that. And it's perfectly transitioned because I was going to ask about that because when the results were announced, you didn't seem surprised or kind of like, oh, what, like confused and stuff like that. Were, other than the slippery and hard to grasp, were there other elements of the fight, maybe certain things of the strategy, the plan that you didn't execute like you thought, or you hoped that are other reasons why you didn't like openly feel like, oh, I totally won that fight?
You know what though? When I went in there, I think one of the things I was being is like I also got very impatient. I rushed in, and every time I rushed in to land my strikes, that's where he caught me and clipped me with that right hand. They dropped me the first time, dropped me the second time. So it was also like a mistake on my part that I learned from now just through training and just through watching that. At the same time, it's, I gave it my all, blood, everything. I was like, this guy hit me with everything he could right now, and I'm just getting up and still standing. I went to zombie mode with him. But you know what? It's like I say, the judges see one thing, even though if I was winning that last round, at the end of it all, I was like, you know what? If I got knocked down, I could have just stayed on the ground and been like, whatever, just, let's finish this. But I was like, forget this. I'm going to get up. I'm going to freaking fight you. It's like, you don't have to do more than that to just put me away. And I just fought it till the end. One of the things I also realized, is like I moved up from a division. I went from being a 35er to a 45er. And it's more than just moving up a division. Just be like, oh, I don't have to cut weight anymore. And you have to fill out to be a 45er because I was a lot smaller in there. And like when I watched the replay, you know, I looked, I'm like, you know, these guys are a lot bigger than me. Even when I watched his fight against Sadiq, Sadiq, you know, these guys, I'm like, man, these guys are huge. I have to start filling out a little more. So I, you know, implemented some strength and conditioning. I talked to, you know, my coaches, Tiger Shulmans, and, you know, we did. And then we've been adding that. And then, you know, just shout out to my strength and conditioning coach, Asia Campbell. And then we, you know, started hitting the weights a little bit, some strength and conditioning, kind of started to fill up to build some more strength, because I don't want to be the little guy in there and just getting tossed around like it's nothing. I want to feel strong in there.
Yeah, and that's a good thing to ask about too. Like, how have you liked your experience at featherweight now? Because it's an interesting debate in the sport. You know, for so long it was about, oh, I'm gonna go down, I'm gonna be the bigger guy, and that really didn't work out for a lot of people. I mean, maybe on some occasions. Now you have a lot of people saying, you know what, I'm going to try to be natural. I'm going to go up. You got the Kelvin Gastelums, and, you know, Robert Whittaker went up, became great at middleweight. Cerrone went up, back down. Like, and I know a facet of it can be filling out, just like you said, and adding muscle, but that can also change because you've been a very successful fighter, very good fighter. How, one, have you liked being at featherweight? And two, how do you strategically and smartly fill out without maybe changing your style and hurting your cardio, your speed, and things like that?
Yeah, like for me, you know, when I was fighting at 35, I was very successful at 35, but then like every time, you know, like I was much younger then, so like the weight cut wasn't that bad, but then it started getting to a point where, you know, it was like, okay, I only have to drop 5 pounds. I was walking around there, I'm fine. Okay, then it starts 10 pounds. Then it starts, you know, like as my body's growing more, it's like, okay, crap, it's going from, you know, like a 5 pound drop to like almost a 25-pound drop. And I'm like, this is hurting me more than it's doing good.
Yeah.
But even if I was the bigger guy or the longer guy, like it was actually hurting me. And the recovery for it wasn't the same. Like, even though if I'll put my weight back on, it would still just be like, oh man, it would deplete me. And I just don't want to deal with that. So what happened is, you know, afterwards, you know, like I said, sat down with my coaches, and, you know, we moved up because it's a more natural weight, you know, weight class for me. Like, I get to 45 for me it's easy. I don't really have to cut weight. But at the same time, like I said, you know, I also don't want to be like skinny 35er and just be walking around. It's like, oh, I'm 145. I just have to step on the scale and that's it.
Right.
So, you know, like I started implementing some, you know, strength and conditioning, and I'm not going like crazy where it's like, oh man, I got bulked up. You know, I'm just putting a good amount of muscle, you know, staying lean, and then just building to a good size. So I'm literally walking around like 160 and I'm cutting to 45. So it's really not that bad because it's simple. It doesn't affect my body. I feel great. So, you know, it's like we planned it out all perfect, you know, sat down, you know, with just the coach and just made the whole plan. And then at 45, it's been great. I walk around feeling good. You know, I'm not walking around like, I mean, you see in like other UFCs when all the fighters start riding to the hotels and everything, they're walking around like zombies. They're like, oh my God.
Yeah.
Like I walk around, I'm all smiles, I'm feeling good. I'm not feeling depleted. And I just go in there and I go. And then during the training, I can focus on building my skill and improving it rather than like, oh, man, I got to be this weight by this time or by this week. And then I can really do the drop. No, I don't want to think about weight cutting. I'm feeling good. I'm filling out. And then like I'm not like packing on muscle where I'm like ridiculously huge. You know, I'm at a really good weight where it's not, where I'm not, you know, like, too small, and also where I'm not, you know, depleting myself. I'm at like the perfect range for myself. So then I cut like what, you know, even like when I'm training, I stay at like I'm at 155. So in reality, I cut like what, like 5 pounds, probably the week up. So I'm good.
Now, is a loss like this tough to get by? I mean, you won seven in a row. You won your first two in the UFC. Then you lose by a split decision of all things. Did it take time to get past this, or did you see it as just how the sport is, and you looked at how the fight played out, and you just wanted to get back in the gym right away?
After that fight, I sat down and I really watched how the whole fight played out. And like I said before, the fight could have gone either way. I could have gotten it. He could have gotten it. Like we left it all in there. And since it didn't go my way, I was just like, this is how I learned. Look, the guy's good. The guy was a multiple-time Muay Thai world champion, and going in there and we're throwing down. And I was able to stand in front of him and bang. And the competition level is only going to get better. And from this loss, it's only going to make me better. I'm always just going to learn, come back, and then boom, I wanted to be right back in there. I was trying to actually get on the fight card that was in Florida, but that didn't go through. And I was also supposed to fight the night that Shane fought, but then that fell through also. So then I ended up, now I'm fighting, next week with my teammate Mike Trezano. So I can't wait for that.
And I wanted to ask about that too. And that it's been nearly 6 months since you last fought. Like, was there a purpose? Did you take some time away and reflect and recharge a little bit? Because you have fought 6 times in the last 2 years before that, including that. Or was there an injury? Was it scheduling similar to what you had to deal with recently? Why has it been so long since you last fought?
So what happened during that? Look, afterwards, after my fight, I took a couple of weeks off just to heal up, but then I was right back in the gym, and I was looking to, get another fight. I really wanted to just get back in there, but, it's hard to find an opponent because everyone was already, like, pretty much a lot of the people were either matched up or other people are just, haven't been fighting for, like, a certain amount of time. I don't know what, other things that are keeping them from being able to step in the octagon. So it was very hard because the people that are, like, above me, they can kind of pick and choose their fights. The people that are kind of like where I am were already matched up. So it was getting very frustrating because I was trying to get a fight, but it's like, okay, so-and-so, it's already matched up, or, we have this person here, but they don't want to take the fight, or whatever it was just like, I'm seeing contracts being handed out left and right, and I'm like, all right, this guy got to fight, this guy got to fight, and I'm like, when is it my turn? When is it my turn? So it was getting kind of frustrating because I just want to fight. I want to fight, and as I move and I'm gonna be moving up the ranks, and I want to do that, but I can't do that if I'm just kind of on the shelf, and I don't want to be on the shelf. I want to be active, be ready to go. So I'm guessing it was like just scheduling conflicts or whatever it is. People already matched up, so it was hard to find an opponent. And then, like I said, I was supposed to fight with the same night as Shane, but then I had an opponent, but then that ended up falling through. I think he got injured. Hope he feels better. But then it was like, all right, and we got this guy. So I was like, all right, whatever. I just want to step back in there. I just want to get back in there and fight. It's like, send the contract, let's do this, and let's go.
Now, speaking of this guy, your opponent next week, Julian Erosa, he's lost 2 fights. His first 2 fights in the promotion, his last two, and a third could definitely put him in a position where he could be released. Do you expect him to be extra aggressive and maybe a little bit desperate in this fight because he really badly needs to get a win to maintain being on this roster?
Yeah, I mean, I'm gonna be ready for anything. I think also if his back is against the wall like that, I know he's gonna come out and look for the finish and really push the pace. But I'm gonna be ready for this. I'm gonna come out and I'm gonna implement my game plan, and we're gonna have a freaking great fight. I think we're the first fight, so it's gonna be awesome.
Do you see areas in his game that you have to be careful with, and on the flip side, spots that you feel you can definitely exploit for a win?
Yeah, there's always things that everyone can fix and that we can all adjust. I saw some things that I know I'm gonna look to capitalize on. So I'm just looking to get in there and wherever the fight goes, however it ends, I just want to get in there and then get back on track.
Now, and again, the last question, I really appreciate the time. Like I said, I talked to Shane yesterday. We were talking about Tiger Showman and stuff like that. For people like us that grew up in like the New York area, the tri-state area, we grew up seeing Tiger Showman commercials, and it was the karate school, and he talked to me about, people thinking that when he would talk to them that he's training there, like, no, it's become like now a legit MMA powerhouse, especially in the area, but in the sport. Talk to me about that, and like, how you being involved with that gym, what does it mean to you to be a part of its rise as a highly respected team in this industry?
I've been there, like, I'm going on to 17 years of being under Tiger Showman. So, like, I started as a fat chubby kid, just trying to lose weight, trying to, accomplish my own personal goals. And from there, I had no experience. I had no wrestling, no nothing. I was just, your average kid, just starting martial arts. And then from there on, look, my coaches, they guided me, they trained me, they got me to, the level of black belt. And I know, like, back then, a lot of people, you always tried to, call us like a McDojo, and they really didn't they hear our name, they didn't take it seriously, but now it's like, you see, it's like, we have people in the highest level. Look, Shane's now in top 10 in the featherweights in the world, and he's been Tiger Showman's ever since. Jimmy Rivera also, who's, top bantamweight in the world, he's up there too, and we got many others, Mike Trezano, Lyman Good, who are in there, many more up-and-comers. So we've been in Tiger Showman's ever since. And I know, like, before, a lot of people, they hear that name and they just picture, it's like commercial, it's this, that. But I think now people are be like, oh, crap, these guys are actually a legitimate, like, they're a legit gym. And it's great because a lot of people doubted us and they didn't respect our team. But now it's like, they're seeing, it's like, we're not here to play around. It's like, you're getting the fight. He's like, we're gonna fight you. We're gonna bring it to you. I was like, it's like, so as people were looking down at us, I don't think they realized how quickly we were climbing up. And then they're looking down at us like, oh, they're nothing, this and that. But to us, we're like, you're looking down at us, and just wait how quickly we're gonna climb up, and we're gonna be above you guys. So, I'm so happy to have been so part of this journey, and Tiger Showman himself, my coach, everybody, they've just been bringing me from the beginning, from being an average, kid with no experience whatsoever to where I am now. So it's an amazing journey.